真的难以想象这是2026年发生的事。精神病院里的病房里住的竟不是精神病人，谁能想到本该守护精神障碍患者的精神病院，竟成了肆无忌惮敛财的黑心场所。记者卧底湖北多家精神病院，爆出的黑幕令人发指。医院为凑齐收治人数，强行将护工、保安塞进病房冒充患者，被真实关押的绝大多数是毫无反抗之力的孤寡老人。他们打着住院全免费、医疗费、生活费全包的幌子，诱骗老人入院，转头就把老人当成摇钱树，不仅打骂虐待、强迫无偿劳动，还伪造诊疗记录、虚构治疗项目，大肆套取医保资金。更恶劣的是，为让老人长期住院持续牟利，医院频繁操作假出院、假入院，甚至凭空伪造精神病史。住院人数越多，医院套取的医保资金就越多。本该救急救难的民生保障款，日复一日被蚕食掏空。涉事工作人员却开上百万豪车，赚得盆满钵满。医疗场所背弃救死扶伤的初心，肆意践踏弱势群体尊严，啃食百姓医保红利，实在让人寒心彻骨。这种突破法律与道德底线的恶行，绝不能被掩盖。恳请大家多
把我父亲的手全部捆绑起来，把另外一个病人只捆一只手，然后双手把我父亲两人全部铐出去。他们这个人是绑一只手，关键是他们管理方面和责任方面不到位。然后我们就送他到武汉去治疗，那可是到一起带去那个铐了几万块钱的。所以看到是国服不行的，6年是管理条件，我们也是去专业机构鉴定的，有点积极的话，对他们这种老年痴呆的人，这个无法不正常，给他把个鉴定结果做出来，把那个鉴定做不出来的话，只能按鉴定量上面来，不然只能够死你。
Recently, China's official media suddenly dropped a bombshell. They reported that in Xiangyang and Yichang, Hubei province, multiple psychiatric hospitals had illegally admitted thousands of mentally normal people. The internet just exploded with anger. People cursed the hospitals, saying they had no conscience, locking up perfectly healthy people just to defraud medical insurance. Even people daily rushed out to steer the narrative, declaring we must investigate every single case we uncover. The central inspection teams were sent in. But do you really think this is just a normal fraud of medical insurance? I want to show you the real story behind the scene. Because those mentally normal people locked inside psychiatric hospitals, the overwhelming majority of them are elderly people from rural areas and poor county towns. This is not a fraud scene. Let's start with the official narrative, insurance fraud. In today's China, trying to scam national medical insurance through such low-level method is almost a fantasy. Medical insurance is now monitored by big data systems with hundreds of audit checkpoints. Faking hospitalizations to siphon massive funds is technically impossible. More importantly, many of the hospitals investigated are controlled by major shareholders, including Aier Eye Hospital. This company makes over 2 billion RMB in net profit every half year. Do you really think they will risk everything, their license, the executives, even prison, just for tens of millions in insurance payments? When some defines common sense, there's always another reason. So hospitals are not stupid. They front the cost, bear the risks, and admit these elderly people because they're trapped in something much bigger. So what's the truth? The truth is, these thousands of elderly people are almost all untended, unsupported, abandoned rural seniors. China is aging at high speed. Economic decline has pushed a larger number of middle class back to poverty. For those who are already in the bottom, especially rural elderly people, there is no simple way out. On paper, policies promise 300 to 600 RMB a month in pensions, but local governments are now financially bankrupt, struggling even to pay salaries. Will that money ever reach the elderly? No one knows. Between 2025 to 2026, news of elderly people dying alone at home, their bodies undiscovered for months, has already become the routine across China. So what do grassroots governments fear the most? They fear elderly people dying in large numbers, starving to death in their homes. This is not just a social issue, it will become a political red line. So an extremely cynical win-win solution just appeared. So the local government approve or support sending these elderly people who cannot survive on their own to the psychiatric hospitals. So for the government, the elderly are centralized. They don't starve, and if they die in a hospital, there is just a legal explanation. It's not considered an abnormal death. For hospitals, psychiatric admissions enjoy special reimbursement rules. Hospitalization fees are not capped by disease categories. Medical insurance covers the bulk. The government fills the small gap, and the hospital stays alive. For the elderly, the environment is terrible. They live alone real psychiatric patients. but at least there is hot food, and when they die, someone notices. This kind of psychiatric hospital-based elderly care has long been widespread in Guangdong, Zhejiang, Hunan, and Hubei. Conservatively estimated, over 100,000 people are already trapped in this system. In Guangdong, some local governments can privately guarantee bank loans for those hospitals just to keep these mechanisms running. So who is really committing evil here? This is not hospitals exploiting people. This is the local government use the Central Medical Insurance Fund to plug the hole of a collapsing elderly care system. So listen carefully, what we are seeing now is only the beginning. When the post-70s and the post-80s generation of only child grows old, if this system does not change, if this physical capacities continues to shrink, the problem will no longer be them, it will become us. At that point, hundreds of thousands, even millions starving to death every year may become the new normal. This time, state media sacrificed a few hospitals in Hubei to divert attention, blaming back-hearted hospitals to cover up a systematic collapse. If you still have medical insurance savings or elderly members, you must understand where the wind is blowing. Leave a comment below and share what have you seen about elderly care at the roots level. I will see you next time.